Welcome to another episode of the Butterfly Mindset Podcast.
Left late night, what a mess. We woke up and we're still obsessed. Can't keep it straight night and day. We keep it classy, still we stay.
Welcome to another episode of the Butterfly Mindset Podcast. Today I have Maria Coukoulis, COO of the Spears Group.
Yep.
Did I get that right?
You did, and you said the last name perfect.
Hell yeah. Great. I'm stoked. I'm so excited to have this conversation.
Me too. I'm excited to be here.
Oh, and co-founder of MyOps.
Yep.
Which we heard from Jonathan is like freaking amazing.
It is very cool.
We all know that you're the superpower behind Jonathan.
Yeah.
Right? And Jonathan knows it too, so it's not a secret.
He admits it.
It's not a secret. I am, and we talked about it, but I am a super big on SOPs, processes, and you are the queen.
Yeah.
So tell me, how did this, I'm going to rewind before I even go there. How did you end up where you're at right now?
Yeah.
What's the background?
You know, I think everyone's journey is always really important to where they are today. And you'll understand this as an athlete, but I think really what grew my competitiveness and my entrepreneurship that got me to where I was today was my sports background. So you can't see it because I'm sitting down, but I'm 5 feet tall and I started playing volleyball at a young age. And about 5th grade, I was everyone's height. And then everyone started getting taller and taller and taller. And I never looked at that and was like, okay, Maria, find a short girl sport or this isn't gonna work for you. I was like, okay, how am I gonna figure out what my competitive advantage is so I can go to the highest level that I wanna reach for this sport? So I think sports from a young age really grew my competitiveness and then led me to wanting to be an entrepreneur myself. So after playing Division I indoor and beach volleyball, I started I know. I made it. I was definitely the shortest by like a foot.
You can't skip over that. You're like, I worked really hard, you know, and then you're like, you're supposed to be like, and then I went D1.
Yes, and I told myself, I remember coming home one day, I think I was like 12 years old, and I told my parents, what's the point of playing if you're not trying to win? And I want to go D1. Yeah. So I was able to hit that goal, which was huge for me. And I think that created my drive into my professional career. So I started off in the public relations industry. I worked for a large PR firm that worked for clients anywhere from Aruba Tourism Authority, Hard Rock Hotels and Casinos, to Pilot Pens and Firehouse Subs. So I got to see the inner workings of all these really large corporations. And after doing that for a few years, I realized, okay, you can figure out how to do this on your own. But I had to figure out what clients I wanted to target. And I was living in South Florida at the time, and I saw all these incredible luxury real estate agents, and none of them were doing public relations. So started targeting them as clients and eventually connected with Jonathan. And that's kind of where Jonathan and I's story began. And we started working together in PR. And then when he really knew he wanted to take his business to the next level and really professionalize it, he offered me the role as COO. And 3 years later, we're here now.
Wow. So what did that look like for you? I mean, tell me about that thought process, that mindset. Like, you're doing the PR stuff.
Yep.
Jonathan's like, hey, I really like working with you. We work together really well.
Yeah.
Why don't you come work with me? What was that decision-making process?
Yeah, so, as I told you earlier, I'm an entrepreneur at heart. I come from a large Greek family that they all immigrated over from Greece, and the only way was to create their own business. So it was kind of an interesting mindset of going from being my own business owner to now going back as an employee. But the way that Jonathan approached it to me was never from the mindset of hey, just come run my business and be my employee. He was like, this is just the beginning. I want to be business partners with you. I want us to create really great things together. And there was something about Jonathan that I had never experienced with anybody else that I'd worked with or played sports with. And it was that he cared as much as me. And when you find somebody that has the same amount of drive and cares as much as you hold on to that. Because as you know, that's very rare to find in sports, in life, and in business.
Yep, 100%. And so when you realize I think it's what we're talking about is aligning in values, right? Like
Definitely.
it's so important whenever you're in a business or in any partnership, any relationship in general,
Yeah.
like that values are aligned, whether it's
Absolutely.
romantic, business, whatever it is. Like,
Absolutely.
And sometimes, and I made the mistake a long time ago, like with business partners or whatever, that like, values didn't align, but I'm like, but the money is good, so we'll take this thing, blah, blah, blah. But what you realize is that like, that's not sustainable.
It's not.
Right? And so you found a partner that you're aligned with as far as a value standpoint, and then you come into Jonathan's business and you were like, oh, it's perfect, or you're like,
and he will be the first to admit it. The first thing I did, like literally my first day, I was like, I'm going to do just a financial analysis of everything.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, show me your finances. And he's like, here's my Amex login. And I was like, oh no. So that was where I started and Jonathan, like I said, will be the first to admit, he had all of these great sales volume behind him, but he really did not have systems and processes behind what he was building. Yeah. And he knew that if he wanted to bring more agents into his orbit, he had a responsibility to give them a playbook on how to get to the level of where he was. Yep. And it couldn't just live all in his head. So he's just like, hey, here's everything I did to become successful. Create systems and processes around this that we can use. And then let's figure out how we can get our finances in check so we can make sure that we're making fiscally responsible decisions to grow the business. So the finances were the first thing I started with, and then from there I built out the systems and processes.
So you're basically like, Jonathan, do what you do. Let me watch so I can figure out how you do what you do.
Yeah, and that's really what I did. I mean, it was a lot of observation of seeing what he did on a day-to-day basis, really sitting down with him. But I think what made it so easy to create a lot faster was he believed in what I could do and just let me do it.
Yeah.
And we are big on decentralized command within Spears Group. We're like, focus on your genius, do the things that you're good at, and then allow the people that know the more operational, organizational, admin side handle that, so everybody can really be doing what's going to be the most impactful for them.
Stay in your lane. Everybody else does their job. We won't hit any crashes.
No micromanaging.
Yeah, I love that. So now, going into like this decision to like, again, going and working for somebody and versus entrepreneurship, yada yada. Was it scary?
I think what was scary about it is the trust factor, because like I keep alluding to for my sports was I would always come home from like a practice or a game and I would either say to, my boyfriend, husband now, or my parents, I'm like, why is no one trying as hard as I am? So I think there was this trust factor of like, okay, if I'm going all in with somebody else in their business, how can I trust that they care and are going to put as much effort in as I am? So I think that trust factor was really the most difficult. But then once I was able to see that and believe it, it was just like rocket fuel, because I was like, wow, I don't have to do this alone. Like I now have a business partner that I can work with and we can create even more than what I would be able to do by myself.
Yeah, 100%. That's amazing. And then fast, when did you start working with Jonathan?
We started working together in May of 2020. And he was just a PR client at the time.
Okay. Yeah. And then when did you become COO?
It was June of 2022.
Okay. So you've been just over 3 years.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah. I just had my 3-year anniversary.
That's exciting. Yeah. So just over 3 years, exponential growth over those 3 years. And you guys also just launched, or are about to launch, right? MyOps.
Yep. That's right.
What is this?
So
it's like your brain and AI.
Yeah, it's basically my brain and Jonathan's brain, rocket fueled by AI. So when I first came on in this role, I was building out all these systems and processes. And I was like, these are great. I've got these beautiful Google Sheets and Google Forms and everything's super organized in Google Drive. And I was super proud of what I created. And I knew like the nuts and the bolts of it were everything agents needed on a day-to-day basis to run. And then everything a team lead needed from a financial standpoint to be able to make active decisions about their business. Yeah. But what I realized was agents are on the go all the time. So asking them to open up their laptop and dig through G Suite or rummage through an Excel document was just not, it was not sustainable. Yeah. So Jonathan and I sat down and I was like, okay, what about our systems and processes do you love and how do you need them quickly? And then I was like, okay, this is what I need from an admin perspective. And we looked to see what was out there and there was no software. So we were like, what do you do when there's no solution? You create a solution.
Yeah.
So we sat down, met with software developers and we're like, this is what we want to create. And over the last 18 months, we've been building it out and we are right on the cusp of launching it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was showing me a little bit about it. So it's pretty cool.
It really is going to be revolutionary for this industry.
Yeah, I think what's exciting about just tech in general, right, is like these huge. We're on a tech revolution right now, like with AI. This AI revolution is completely changing not just our industry, but just in general life.
It is.
Right, and so a lot of the tech is bolt-on tech, which is an issue, right? Because what ends up happening when you have a bunch of different logins, agents don't end up using it.
Exactly.
Right? And so what's very interesting about yours is it's like, this is how you use it, this is what you do, and you need I thought it was the example of, what's a gate code for XYZ property? Like, that's amazing, right? Like, and it's just feeding that data to it, which is amazing.
And what we really wanted to do was we wanted to create something that was real estate specific. Because of course there's other management softwares out there, but none of them understand our industry.
Yeah.
And no one's gonna take the time to build out everything in there. So we were like, let's cut through the clutter of it and give them something that they can use immediately and it's gonna have an effective impact on their business.
Well, I've been part of some of the biggest tech companies in our industry, and like, the reality is like most of the prop tech companies are fluff.
Yep.
Like, and the reason I say that, is because most of them are really great. Either they're like a great product in general, meaning like they're good engineers, they're good software engineers, yada yada. But like they don't understand the industry, so it doesn't apply really well to the industry.
Exactly.
Or they're a really bad product. But it's like, the concept is there. And so someone's trying to push this product that's like, you're like, but like, I can't even, the UX, UI is horrible.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like always this very interesting thing. And so when you can get someone that understands technology and understands the industry and puts that together, that's what creates magic. I mean, that's what created like some of the biggest exits in our industry, right?
Absolutely. And what's really funny too is you bring up the example Jonathan said about like the gate code.
Yeah.
So that's an agent brain of like, hey, I'm standing at the gate, I've got a client breathing down my neck. Instead of rummaging through text or looking at the MLS or wherever it is, I ask my chatbot. But then from like an admin perspective, what I deal with on a day-to-day basis is, let's say Sally Sue calls me and is like, Maria, I want to hire Split. And I'm like, okay, let me go to MyOps and type in, what has Sally Sue done this year? And MyOps tells me, okay, Sally Sue has sold 4 homes this year. 3 of them were internet leads and 1 was SOI. Sally Sue's earned this, you've earned this from her business. At that point, I'm on the phone with Sally Sue in real time and I'm saying, hey, Sally, 3 of your deals this year out of 4 were internet leads that we gave to you. So we're still kind of helping you get your business going. Once we can start seeing you bring in more SOI deals, then maybe we can sit down and discuss different compensation structures. But until then, we're still helping you fuel your business.
Yeah.
And then at that point, Sally's like, okay, that makes sense. Like they're still helping me build there. But if I'm not tracking that information, I'm basing everything on my conversation with Sally on emotion.
Yep.
And the minute that you're making decisions in your business based on emotions and not off data, you're going to put yourself in a hairy position.
Yeah, 100%. I love that. What's next? I know the MyOps, right? But like, what's the bigger picture?
I think the bigger picture here is I've never been somebody that's been motivated by like money or admiration. I just really care about making impact. And so when I think about what's next, the reason that I've done everything I have in my career up to now, and then even with creating MyOps, is because I really want to help people have successful careers and make the most of their life.
Yeah.
And I realize that in real estate, for some reason, we lack having like professionalism, like there's no reason we shouldn't run like Fortune 500 companies.
Exactly.
And that's really where my passion is fueled from this is I come from a family of entrepreneurs that I've seen be able to build great lives for themselves by putting the effort into their business. So if I could figure out a way to give people my type A brain and use that to make themselves more successful, like that's really what drives me every day is being able to help make an impact on others.
I love that. That's the butterfly effect.
Yeah.
That's why it's Butterfly Mindset Podcast.
It is. It truly is like, if you don't have a why behind what you're doing, you know.
Then what are you doing?
What are you doing? Yeah, exactly.
I have 2 more questions.
Okay.
My first question is how can people connect with you, find you?
Yeah, so if you heard earlier, I have a very long Greek last name. So on Instagram, it's maria.coukoulis.smith. But if you want to...
Wait, hold on, time out. Hold on. Don't skip through it. You got to spell it out.
Okay, it's maria.coukoulis.smith. Smith's the easy part of it. But the easier way to follow along with what I'm doing is just follow at MyOps AI or go to myops.ai and you can find out more about what we're doing. You can get my phone number directly on there and I'm always happy to hop on a call and just talk shop.
Awesome. You're awesome. And my second question is there's someone out there that's probably listening to this podcast and is told in some capacity the same that you were told about volleyball. You're not tall enough, you're not good enough, you can't do this, you don't have the right look for this, yada, yada. What's your piece of advice for them?
My piece of advice for you on that is the only person that you should ever listen to is yourself in terms of what your capabilities are. And I didn't learn that right away. It took a lot of soul searching and a lot of being put down on. But the longer that I realized that the only person that I need to come home to at night and be comfortable with is myself and, stuck to that, I realized that everything else is just noise. So just listen to yourself and believe in yourself and don't let others tell you what your trajectory is going to be because you're in charge of that and no one else is.
I love that. We create our own box.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love that so much. Thank you so much for being on.
Yeah, no, thank you.
This conversation.
I was really looking forward to chatting with you, so thank you for having me.
No problem. Killer.